plastic surgery, cosmetic surgery, should you do it? Especially when you look in the mirror and you're as old as I am, it could be a question that comes up. As an exercise professional all of my life, it's something that my clients have asked me regularly. When is the right time to get plastic surgery? Should I get plastic surgery? Is it the last resort or the first option? And that's my very first question, because we all have an opinion about what's right and wrong, and particularly it's interesting that people have an opinion on what other people should do, but what do you want to do? How do you want to look and how do you want to feel? And I'll give you some insights because I've been working with the human body all of my life, and particularly people's self-esteem and self-confidence when it comes to the human body. So I'm also very good friends with some plastic surgeons, one in particular who's well known in Australia as one of the very best plastic surgeons, particularly when it comes to facelifts. And he's always shared with me, and I've taken clients to see him who he has shared the same information, that never go to surgery, any kind of surgery, but particularly something to do with your body, face, body. Don't go to surgery unless you're the fittest and strongest you can possibly be, because all surgery comes with a risk, of course. And if you want to recover quickly and look your very best after the surgery, then your body needs to be fit and strong before you go in. Now, the interesting thing that happens there often is I've taken clients to see that plastic surgeon. He said to them, I'm not touching you because you're not the fittest and strongest you could possibly be. Go back and train with Rowie for another 6 months or another year and then come back. And often we've never had to go back, because when the person's got as fit and strong as they can possibly be, their body is amazing. And the other interesting thing about your face, the best anti-aging product on the planet is exercise. And that's not my opinion, that's how the human body works. When you are really fit and really strong, your body goes into backwards mode. It goes into, I'm not getting older, I'm getting younger. Even when it comes to your skin, your body uses up all the stuff that you put into your body. You have great circulation. You burn up the rubbish that you put into your body, so your skin looks good, your body looks good, you feel good about yourself. And often now people go to a plastic surgeon, and again, this has come from the plastic surgeon, not from my opinion. People go because they don't feel good about themselves, they have very low self-esteem, and they think that if they get plastic surgery that they'll feel better. And there's a really interesting book about that, a plastic surgeon who then became a psychologist because he couldn't understand that he was making people look beautiful. He was fixing noses and imperfections on bodies, and after the surgery the people didn't feel any better about themselves. So there's another thing to consider. Should you get fit and strong first? And if you do that, will it help your self-esteem? And of course, your mental health, the way you feel about yourself mentally, particularly when you look in the mirror, that changes when you're fit and strong, because you have different chemicals going through your brain. When you get puffed, when you lift heavy, when you're the fittest and strongest you can possibly be, your brain has happy chemicals. You produce epinephrine and adrenaline and cortisol when you exercise, which then automatically produces brain-derived neurotropic factor, which is fertilizer for your brain. Dopamine, which is a reward neurotransmitter that makes you feel good about what you're doing with your life. Serotonin, which is a satisfaction neurotransmitter, which says you should be really satisfied with the way you look and feel because you're alive. So that's a great thing to consider first. Are you the fittest and strongest you could possibly be? And why would you do anything that could risk your life? Because any surgery is a risk. Why would you do anything unless you've done that first? And a good plastic surgeon will say that to you. If you're not the fittest and strongest, don't come to surgery until you are. The reverse of that is I've taken many clients to see plastic surgeons for this reason. There is only so much that exercise can do. So I had one client in particular. She became super fit and super strong, and from the waist up, she looked like an elite athlete, like an elite bodybuilder. She had toned biceps, ripped abdominals, ripped shoulders. She just looked amazing. She had a chiseled jawline, but she had a really big bum. And it didn't matter how much exercise she did, that bum was not going to change. In fact, it got the opposite, where if she lost any more weight off her upper body, she started to look quite old and quite drawn and not healthy, but nothing changed in her bum. So off we went to the plastic surgeon on the Gold Coast in Australia, and she had liposuction on her hips and thighs. Her abdominals were completely flat and ripped. It was just her hips and thighs. It didn't matter how much exercise she did. That's just genetic distribution of fat, obviously. And for her, it was amazing the results were amazing, but B, what happened to her self-esteem, because she was already really fit and strong. She was just getting really frustrated because her butt was fat and her legs were fat, and now they weren't anymore. It was just an amazing transformational experience. That same plastic surgeon, this is a story I love sharing. I was chatting at a big event on the Gold Coast, a corporate event, and I always talk to people at the start, and I asked a lady, how have you had a brilliant day today, and tell me why. And she said, well, I'm an anaesthetic nurse. I work in surgery. And I watched something happen today that completely changed my mindset about life. She said, I watched a lady who had the most disfigured face. She'd been in an accident, she had burns on her face, and she was going into surgery. She was suicidal because her face was just so disfigured, and beforehand she'd been incredibly beautiful. She said, I watched a plastic surgeon completely reshape and reform her face. He took fat out of her bum, he restructured her face. She said he performed magic on her face, and you could already tell at the end of the surgery that this woman was going to get her life back. Her face was going to go back to the way it was before. She said it was just such a beautiful thing to experience. And that's something about plastic surgery that I just think is absolutely gorgeous. And when people say to me, this is again a very personal story. I just had a comment recently. Somebody said to me, and of course not to my face, it was a comment that was distributed and ended up coming back to me, that obviously Roe's had a major facelift because I'm an old lady. And that's a lovely compliment because I haven't, but I'm very excited about getting a facelift when I need one, because I've seen what plastic surgeons can do. And if you don't want to look old, if you have a healthy, fit, strong body like I do and you feel really young, wouldn't it be nice that your face looked young as well? So thank you for the compliment that somebody thinks I've had major plastic. I think it was, that woman's had major plastic surgery. That's why she looks the way she does. And that's a compliment, because the reason I look the way I do is because I'm healthy, fit and strong. I've got a positive attitude. I always look on the bright side. It's one of the things I think is an incredible thing to consider. If you're always grumpy and you're always miserable and you're always looking for drama and you're critical and your life isn't the way you want it to be, is it possible that shows on your face? Does stress show on your face? Versus if you're really fit and strong and you get rid of that stress, if you go and punch the bag, if you sprint, if you get puffed, if you lift heavy, then you disperse stress really quickly and then your face looks fresh and young again. So there's a lot of things to consider, and all I'm asking is this: how do you feel and what's important to you? Because there's a lot of plastic surgeons now who, this is another interesting side note from my friend, the plastic surgeon, who said that plastic surgery is not designed to make you look young, it's just designed to make you look younger. If you have a flaw with your body that can't be fixed by exercise, then we can certainly do that. But we can't change your body completely. You're going to tweak, not to change. If you have done everything that you possibly can and your body is healthy, fit and strong, then plastic surgery could definitely be of benefit. But up until then, and this is the really sad thing, there are, of course, many plastic surgeons who will operate. And again, my plastic surgeon shared with me beautifully, the only person that should ever know that you've had plastic surgery is you and your plastic surgeon. And we've seen plenty of pictures now on social media and magazines and athletes and celebrities and movie stars, etc., who they don't look the same anymore. They not only do they look almost bizarre, but they certainly don't look like themselves anymore. They've had their face completely restructured and changed because they want to look younger. And of course that's a personal choice, and people can do whatever they want to. And if people are if you've had plastic surgery and you love it, and people are criticizing you that you've had plastic surgery, who cares? Because you love it. And I think that's the most important thing. What do you need to do as a human being to feel the very best about yourself? But all I would ask you to consider, because I've seen the opposite, where people have gone in for plastic surgery, and not on my recommendation, and certainly not, they haven't been to my plastic surgeon, but they've gone to get plastic surgery expecting that they would look and feel a certain way, but they weren't their fittest and strongest, so they had complications. Remember that after surgery you probably can't exercise. The cool thing about a great plastic surgeon is that will get you back exercising as quickly as possible. But if you can't exercise and for many, many weeks or months, then your body wastes away, rots away, and you end up looking worse than before the surgery because your body's wasted away. I think there's some things to consider there. So of course it's about finding a great surgeon. It's about doing it for the right reasons. It's about being healthy, fit and strong, and they're all personal choices and none of my business and nobody else's business except yours. So there are women who go for all sorts of facial changes, plastic surgery, fillers, Botox, all of that stuff at a very young age. I remember somebody suggesting to me when I was 30 that I should go and get Botox because I was starting to get lines in my face, and I thought, that's really not something I want to do. I'm only 30, but I know lots of 30-year-olds who go and get Botox and fillers on a regular basis. None of my business. People can do whatever they want to. What I will share with you very happily and very openly is that as soon as the plastic surgeon suggests that it's time for me to do something about my face, I will. And it's interesting because the plastic surgeon who is my friend, he just regularly says to me, when you have a facelift, Rowie, you have to have something to lift. So don't talk to me until you've got something to lift, which again is a lovely compliment, because one of the beautiful things about exercise and being fit is that you burn up all the junk in your body, which means you burn up all the stuff that makes you look old. So if you want to stay looking young, the ultimate anti-ager is exercise. And if you have some things that you want to tweak or that you want to fix, then do it for the right reasons because you want to feel good about yourself. And I will put that in as a side note. I've also had lots to do with people. Remember, I've been an exercise professional all of my life. I started when I was 13 full time. I've had people who their husbands told them, you're looking old, you need to get a facelift, or your bum's too big, you need to get liposuction, or your boobies are too small, you need to get it, you need new boobies. And they've gone to do it for somebody else, not because they wanted to do it, but because their partner or their friends or social media or whatever has suggested this is the way you should look, and I think that's really sad. So whatever it is that you need to do to feel fantastic, my only suggestion is this: because I am an exercise professional, because I'm an old lady and I feel young and I feel healthy, fit and strong because I am, maybe get fit and strong before you do anything else. And that's not on my recommendation even, that's from the plastic surgeon. And sometimes he's been very, very strong with people. Oh, please can you give me a facelift, or please can you give me a tummy tuck? And his answer has been, I'm not touching your face and I'm not touching your body because unless you're fit and strong, you will screw up my work. That was his direct quote. So here's what I'm asking. Do what you need to do to feel the best that you possibly can. And is it possible that if you're fit and strong, that you will live your life to the max? Super duper doo. Look in the mirror and love what you see. Woohoo!